Here today, right now, I want to talk a little bit about mental illness. Before we start, I'd like to talk about my concerns. I'm just basically talking and expressing this because of concerns, and this is a very, very depressing thing that I've had to deal with for many years. Many years. I'm 42 years of age now, and over the last, the whole time really, but let's just say, 20 years plus, anywhere between 20 and 30 years, it's become more and more apparent to me. But don't worry, I'm not talking about myself, and I also want to mention first of all that I am not an expert on the field in terms of, the term expert, as in what's accepted as an expert by the majority of people, ran by whatever you want to call them, man, the dictators of society that set the standards, that set things, that set the rules, set the the boundaries of your ability to know anything, almost like, society. This is what this is. This is what's classed as a psychiatric doctor. This is what's classed as this. These are the laws you follow. This is the ruler of the land. Bow down. This is what you eat. This is where you can live. This is where you can't. You're not eligible for this. Brick wall after brick wall, barbed wire and electrified fences, left, right and centre. Pure 1984 Orwellian hell, brainwashing, insanity is what they're trying to make us live under. It really is, in so many ways, got the essences of what a kind of hell would be. What we're living, what we've had to be put through. And whether you think that's an exaggerated way to speak or not, you probably think I've got some mental problems by talking about the world like that, right? The chaos of the human mind is a chaotic, mixed up thing. Excuse me 1 second. 1 second. So, what am I talking about? Wow. The masses, the population, the populace, what we're going to call the popular, whatever it be, the vote, or what's the in thing, or what's the commonly known, commonly recognised, or this kind of thing, this whole idea of more means more, hierarchy, the whole idea of it, values, status, just how can you look left, right, or anywhere in this world and actually believe in all this fucking nonsense? How can you believe in all this nonsense? Ask yourself that question, because that's the biggest problem. First off, that's the first thing. How can you believe in this damn nonsense that's going on around the world? You believe in this circus, this absolute, utter stage show of insanity that's going on. You believe that a person and their words and their attitude is above you. You believe that someone's wearing some kind of fabric, some kind of clothes, and it's got a name brand, whatever that's supposed to mean, that it's somehow they are rich or they're above you. You believe that people have earned themselves. They've earned themselves, they've done it. They got to a better level, some higher level of you, to you as a human being. I mean, it's all bullshit. It's all made up. You couldn't see that in a Disney film, even before they were as possessed as they are today. You couldn't make this up. It's just you wouldn't be able to actually make it up. It's just it doesn't make any sense at all. People don't know what they want and they run left and right. And this thing called thought police. What the fuck's that? straight from 1984, George Orwell's 1984, okay? Yep. You know, that was a concept in that film. Thought Police. You never heard anything like that kind of thing before. What the hell was that? Thought Police? Are you fucking insane? I mean, is it an actual thing? I don't even know. Like, to look up, is there yeah, like, what the fuck's going on there? What the fuck's going on there? But now let's talk about this thing, mental illness, and we'll talk about mental illness for a second, right? A mental condition, you know, a state. This thing's wrong with people's minds out there. And it doesn't take too much, apart from having a healthy brain, to actually recognise that. Do you know how you're thinking and why you're thinking a certain way? For the ones that are more aware and in tune, thank goodness is all I can say. And you look at others who are not like that, and like, you ask yourself, regardless of how well or not you know them, but you ask yourself, how could those people not be, you know, aware? Some people I see just muttering on and on, they haven't got a clue what they're doing. And some people, they're like, it's almost like a massive rock has hit them in the head, and they just can't think for themselves. And all they do is follow the rhetoric that's going around them. You know, what's the way of doing things and what everybody else does. They don't have a brain for themselves, they don't have their own almost. It's like they're just completely lost. It's not me judging them, not me saying I'm smarter than them, or I know this and that. It's just that, you know, it's just, you'll see what it just is. It's incredibly unbelievable to see this as is, right? Now, let's get talking. So, mental illness, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional doctor on the matter, okay? I can't talk to you about the mental illnesses and the symptoms that, you know, I can read stuff off the internet. That'd probably be the best way to do it, actually. However, it wouldn't be. I mean, the best way to do it is to study nature itself. So your own human body and mine. Even though people are different, you know. The best way to do it would literally be to study the truth, right? To study, for example, like nature, you know, ways of nature, like as explained in the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, as I say. But it's like, you know, nature itself, the truth, you know, which is the truth. But like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, but I would just say, like, for a doctor, let's say a psychologist or psychiatric doctor, whatever you call it, psychiatrist, psychiatric doctor, there's been people out there who are supposed experts, you know, in the field. And most people don't look to truth or to expect to even look into other truths, only apart from what they see is told to them to be the real, by the masses, accepted by the masses, so that they follow it and then add on to the masses. The sheep follow the wolf. You know, a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? But rather, this is the other way around. This is a sheep in wolf's clothing. And I think that's what the title of this video should be. Something along those lines, a sheep in wolf's clothing. What you've essentially got is really a herd of sheep being the populace, the people following another sheep or specific sheep, you know, who are dressed as wolves, but no more a sheep, you know, no less a sheep than you are. I'm just saying, as the other sheep, you know. So you have a person. It's my alarm, but excuse me. Do you like that? Do you like that? Do you? I say, this is the thing. So you literally have a situation where people are following individuals who are supposed to dressed up to be in power. He's the wolf. Oh, everybody follow the wolf when he barks. Run this way when the wolf tells you to. And before long, the sheep are afraid, or whatever animal it is, they're afraid to go and drink water from that stream or eat those fruits. No, they just go over there and just make do because they're going to starve to death anyway. So they will end up drinking their own piss and fucking eating toxic grass or something. I don't know. It branches off into all kinds of areas of society where people start going the wrong way into things because they're guided, for lack of a better word, they're whipped away from the good and more towards the bad. They're whipped into shape so that they may be lazy in certain areas, and they're told that being lazy is not being lazy, and not being lazy is lazy, vice versa. They're whipped so that they dance for them when they want them to. They're whipped into such a way that they don't know their own mind, and they're always trying to constantly please their rulers. And the rulers are the ones whose minds are erratic, who's never satisfied. A leader, someone who's like a supposed leader, right? What you call a leader, doesn't actually exist. A sheep, just another sheep in wolf's clothing. I'm sure you've met loads of those. These critters. These people, what they do is they basically make up all this phony stuff, and their minds are not in peace, is what I was going to say. They're constantly looking for something to control. They whip you into shape, they whip the world into shape, they paint the world yellow, and they're like, yeah, what's my purpose around here? Shit, let's paint it red now, and they paint the world red. And they're like, how dare this world stay red? Everything they see is like imposing upon themselves. It's like their own loneliness, because they separate themselves from all humankind. I'm a wolf, I'm not a sheep. So, and they see that there's more of this, and they see that, all they see is like imposing threat always. Their minds always needing to run around, jump around. They're looking for more. They cannot handle less. They cannot handle peace. They cannot handle humbling themselves. They cannot handle the fact that they're limited just like the rest of us. They want to have the power of all, but they cannot accept all having power. And that is insane. So it's like we're really dealing with people that have, as far as I'm concerned, something wrong with them in their mind. Their minds are jumping all over the place. So therefore, this is what the problem is ultimately. Right? Mental illness is when someone's mind is not functioning right? But in some way or other, if you go online, I'll read some stuff up now on the internet while we're here. I might do that. Hold on one second. I can do it. My shoulder's a bit stiff, excuse me, I'm really stiff lately. I need to go and do a workout later on, as I say, so I hope you enjoy the workout videos, guys. The martial arts, but I will not be filming my workout today, most likely, because I'm just going to be watching a film and doing my exercise for myself today. I'm going to take it easy today and see what I can do workout-wise today, I think. I don't really want to go over the top today with a workout. I think there's a time where we do have to balance, our health, our mental and physical health, and not put too much strain on it, You've got to give yourself rest. Like when you have a busy week, a busy when you're employed to be a slave and you call it a job and your livelihood, but you're in a job, okay, in a shit crap situation, and you only have like a day or two off per week, but in that week is so exhausting and there's so much going on throughout those days that in between those days you actually do need more of a rest as well. You need another day to break it up, really. It's like 5 days is a lot for a person. Okay, so therefore what happens is you end up like needing that break, and you just don't get it. But you should be giving yourself a bit more of a break, you know. In the middle of it, you should actually be doing that, you know, giving yourself a bit more of a break. Now I've got a video on my screen here I'm looking at of me that when I did a workout yesterday, and it's good to see, you know, but I haven't got to film it every day. I just don't have to, you know. I want to do more martial art, you know, videos in general, some basic training techniques. I was showing you stuff like that. But let's get back to what I'm saying. So this mental illness thing, right? It's a big problem. What is mental illness first of all? Let's look at it. We've gone through this so many times. Okay. So mental illness, okay. Let me go on to here for a second. I'm going to go on to a couple of things here. I'm going to say, I'm going to type it, let's have a search. Let's do a search because I'm going to go online. I'm not going to go too deep looking at different examples. I mean, there's people in your life you may have met in your world. So, okay, I'm going to write here, I'm going to ask AI to do this. Write a list of 10 symptoms of mental illnesses. Hold on. Symptoms of mental illnesses leading to brain, I'm going to say dysfunctional brain mind activity. I'm going to put mind or brain. Okay, hold on. Right, so I've typed it. Write a list of 10 symptoms that show mental illnesses leading to dysfunctional brain, mind/brain activity, as quoted and explained by well-known psychiatric doctors in as of 2025, and list their names and quotes on these matters, which these points which have been accepted as truth worldwide. Right. So I'll read that again. It says, write a list of 10 symptoms that show mental illnesses leading to dysfunctional mind/brain activity, as quoted and explained by well-known psychiatric doctors as of 2025, so up to date. and list their names and quotes on these points which have been accepted as truth worldwide. Okay, let's play it. Hit click. It's going to do it. It should do it. Okay, we've got some. Good. Hold on a minute. I don't know how true this is, but I'm just going to read what it's saying here, okay? And you can look this up as well. We can look into this more. And I may even do that. Because it's giving me 10 points here. Nearly done with the list. It's coming up now. One more here. It's done a pretty good job of it. I'm using Qwen, okay? Chat.qwen.ai. Qwen spelled Qwen. Let's read it together. Okay, so it says here, as of 2025, the understanding of mental illnesses and their symptoms continues to evolve, meaning more goalpost change movements, with contributions from leading psychiatric professionals. Below is a list of 10 symptoms that indicate mental illnesses leading to dysfunctional mind or brain activity, along with quotes from well-known psychiatric doctors whose insights have been widely accepted globally. And it says, number 1, persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness. I've seen that in people. Persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness. Ask yourself, why do you have those feelings? Quote, persistent sadness is more than just feeling down. It reflects a neurochemical imbalance in the brain that disrupts emotional regulation. This was quoted by Dr. Helen Mayberg, neurologist and psychiatrist specializing in mood disorders. So we can look her up. We're going to look these people up as well. Why not? Excessive worry. Number two, okay? Excessive worry or anxiety. Quote, anxiety isn't just about fear. It's an overactive, I'm trying to pronounce some of these difficult words, an overactive amygdala signaling, amygdala, I can't read it, signaling danger where none exists, hijacking rational thought processes. This was said by Dr. Daniel Siegel, clinical professor of psychiatry at UCLA and author on mindfulness and mental health. Number 3, okay? Number 3, difficulty concentrating or making decisions. Quote, when the prefrontal cortex struggles to function optimally, decision making becomes impaired, often seen in conditions like ADHD and depression. This was said by Dr. Thomas Insel, a former director of the National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH. Number 4, sudden changes in sleep patterns. Quote, sleep disturbances are not merely side effects, but core features of many psychiatric disorders, reflecting this dysregulation in circadian rhythms and neurotransmitter systems. Said by Dr. Matthew Walker, professor of neuroscience and psychology at University of California, Berkeley. Okay. Number 5, halfway through now. Social withdrawal or isolation. Quote, isolation is both a symptom and a cause of mental illness. I think it depends on what you describe as isolation, creating a feedback loop that So it exacerbates feelings of loneliness and despair. Dr. Vivek Murthy, US Surgeon General and advocate for addressing social determinants of mental health. Number 6. Extreme mood swings. Now I see this all the time with people. Extreme mood swings. Mood swings can signal underlying instability in brain circuits responsible for emotion regulation as seen in bipolar disorder or borderline personality disorder. It was said by Dr. K. Redfield Jamieson, Professor of Psychiatry at Johns Hopkins University and expert on bipolar disorder. Number 7, intrusive thoughts or compulsions. Quote, intrusive thoughts are not voluntary. They stem from hyperactive error detection mechanisms in the brain, which OCD, which is something I do suffer with actually a little bit. I feel so habits I have. Sufferers attempt to neutralize through compulsive behaviors. Yeah, like me, my working out and stuff. Certain things I get, like my shaky foot, my tapping of my foot. I have to put my foot in a certain position before I can like stand in a certain way. It's really weird. Like when I'm doing certain exercises, weird. Yeah, this was said by Dr. Jeffrey Schwartz, research psychiatrist and author of Brain Lock. So we could be reading up some of these books on this stuff, you know. Loss of interest in previously enjoyable activities. Quote, it says, anhedonia is the inability to experience pleasure. I can't even pronounce the name right. Such a miserable word. So, anhedonia, the inability to experience pleasure, is one of the hallmark symptoms of major depressive disorder linked to reduced dopamine activity in reward pathways. By Dr. Robert Sapolsky, what's the long word, man? Neuroendocrinologist, all right? Neuroendocrinologist. Well, what a long word. Neuroendocrinologist, and author of Behave, the Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst. That's an interesting one. I wouldn't mind looking that up. Number 9, you've got 2 more. Paranoia or delusions. This is what people are having all around me that I see, as well as a lot of these here. Paranoia arises when the brain misinterprets sensory input, constructing narratives that feel real but are detached from reality, often seen in schizophrenia. This right here is a mental illness. This is something here that I see all the time around me, people, and negative too. So it goes back to some of the other ones we just read too. So they have those, and definitely this big time. This is what leads to a lot of it. Now, Dr. Ellen Sachs, law professor, and not like saxophone, Sachs, S-A-K-S, written by this was said by Dr. Ellen Sachs, law professor and schizophrenia advocate, author of The Center Cannot Hold. Wow. Next one, last one, number 10, suicidal thoughts or self-harm behaviours. I know someone who's killed themselves. I know other people that have tried. Quote, suicidal ideation is a cry for help rooted in profound psychological pain, requiring immediate interventions to address both the biological and environmental factors contributing to it. It was quoted by Dr. David Kessler, psychiatrist and former FDA commissioner, co-author of Finding Meaning, the 6th stage of grief. The bottom here it says, these quotes and explanations highlight how dysfunction in brain activity manifests as specific symptoms across various mental illnesses. They underscore the importance of integrating neuroscience, clinical observation, and patient-centered care to better understand and treat these conditions. Note, while this response synthesizes credible knowledge up to 2023, advancements in psychiatry by 2025 may refine or expand upon these insights further. Okay, so there you go. So anyway, I'm just going to leave that at that for now, but a lot of those things I see going on around me, I've seen people that have that. They're completely disconnected from reality in a large part, constantly paranoid. You've got symptoms of schizophrenia. And if I was to say that this person's schizophrenic, or this person this or that, got bipolar or whatever, who am I? I don't have the position, the title. Like a lot of these people, I'm not the president, so people won't come up to me and bow when they see me. I'm not someone working in the government, so people won't come up to me ready to shake my hand, you see. Or come to meet me at some important public talk I'm going to give on the street. No, anywhere you go. So, because I don't have that title, that idea in their mind, which is a make-believe world, because I'm not the Wizard of Oz, and that is shown in that movie, The Wizard of Oz. There's a profound meaning there. You know, when they went to see The Wizard of Oz at the end of the movie, and they were so surprised that he wasn't this big magical thing. He was just a little small, scrawny guy behind the thing. You remember talking? Have you all seen it? Hiding behind it, you know. The promise of all good, that he could give good to everybody. But ultimately, he wasn't a deceiver or a baddie. See, that's what the story is in The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy and her little dog Toto, the dog, and her 3 friends who she meets along the way, they're all totally different in a weird, strange land, almost like a dream. Very amazing writing when you think about it. You got the Wicked Witch of the East and the Wicked Witch of the West, meaning there were more than one witch in the world, you know what I mean? Plus lion monkeys. And they'll try and trick you, and that is nasty people. But ultimately, whatever you're searching for, which is the good on the way out, and you're trying to find it, you want to come back. There's no place like home, right? Come back to the truth. It's your own sanity and a sense of peace. And a lot of people don't have this sense of peace in them. So you got, you know, and they needed a diploma and all this. They needed all this stuff. He's telling them, he's giving them bullshit, but he's not tricking them. It's like people literally have to find their own way. What they're really trying to do is find themselves and find home. So they're distracted by all the crazy, wacky things going on around them. Around them. So, follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. That's what you need to do, Kurt. Yeah? Which way to go? This way or that way? This way or that way? But come on, people do go both ways. What's the movie? He's got the But yeah, you got the scarecrow was looking for some brains, right? A brain. The cowardly lion was looking for a heart of courage. He was looking for courage. So somewhere, and he was he wasn't even looking for it at first, and he was encouraged to go along. And, you know, and if you've seen the movie, it's a wonderful golden movie, beautiful, absolutely amazing movie. I grew up watching it. It was one of my grandmother's favourite movies. And you had the scarecrow who was looking for a brain, and you had the Tin Man who was looking for he was looking for a heart, so he was looking for a heart. That was it. And the lion was looking for just courage, right? But anyway, when they got there, they actually made it through the bullshit like I have to do every day. And I get back from my long day every day, and I end up back at home and back to bed, where I can relax. It's like I find myself again, it's a place to relax, and it's crazy. Like, you go to bed every night, you go through this damn journey, and you wake up the next day. It's like you wake up, and it's like almost like you're going into a nightmare, and you come back to it, and you go back to, you're going to come back to the truth. So, but the Wizard of Oz himself, he wasn't trying to trick people to that extent. In the end, he was telling them, what you need is this, what you need is that. You just need the belief in yourself. So you just need the connection with yourself, I should say. You know what I mean? You trust your mother. Why do you trust your mother? Because you know your mother. You know what I mean? You trust your feelings in your body, like if you're hot or in pain or cold. Why? Because you know it. You're so connected. You've got connection with yourself. So many people are so distracted from others. Yeah. So, to get a brain, to get a heart, to get courage, these are all things that I feel a lot of people are going through. A lot of people are going through things where they can't find what they already have. The knowledge of having it, the knowing, the awareness of the self. They're going around the world trying to find themselves by trying to find their place in something with the acknowledgement, the acceptance, and the whatever it may be. They want people to buy them, basically. They're trying to sell themselves until they are bought as servants to the ones they see above them as nothing less than masters. Then they feel that there's no meaning in their life. And they want to control all of that, and yet still they give themselves to it. It doesn't make any sense at all. So, it's really messed up. So there's a lot of people in this world that are really depressed, miserable, and they're going around in this world looking for some kind of thing, something to show constantly. They're trying to fight with the world, you know what I mean? So it's just a really, really depressing, sad thing to see. Truth is most important. So when you go to a job every day and you're playing that role, and you're like this person in a job, you must be real with yourself and say, what am I doing? Society is built on this world. People are falling into roles. They believe they're in different categories. Okay, this is a higher, lower, I'm above this person, that person below me. And if you don't humble yourself, you won't start to learn, learn any good stuff. You can learn so much, you really can, When you just stop, for some reason you stopped learning. You ask yourself, well, you stopped accepting just truth within yourself. That's all you need, the truth within yourself. Other truths are what they are. But all you need is self-recognition. Recognize that you are what you are. You can't tell me that you're completely in peace if you're going out there into the world trying to dictate and control everybody and everything based on your judgment, which is only limited, ability to see things. It's a perception. You can't see what things are. But like David Icke says about perception and projection, and I'd like to let AI talk about that here too while we're here. But hold on, so let's talk about that, okay? Excuse me. So I'm gonna say, describe what David Icke was talking about when he mentioned perception from projection and projection from perception. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's what he said, because he was talking about basically. Okay, it says David Icke, a controversial British conspiracy theorist, as they call him that. So what does that mean, Yeah, and public speaker, often discusses concepts related to reality, consciousness, and perception. When he mentions perception from projection and projection from perception, he is likely, it says, referring to the interplay between how individuals perceive the world around them and how their internal beliefs, assumptions, and mental constructs, projections, shape that perception. Breaking down the phrase projection, okay, projection. In psychological terms, projection refers to the process by which individuals project their own emotions, thoughts, or beliefs onto external reality. For example, if someone is feeling anxious, they may interpret neutral events as threatening because their internal state is influencing how they perceive the world. Hold on. It says, if someone is feeling anxious, they may interpret neutral events, like peaceful events, I guess, as threatening because their internal state is influencing how they perceive the world. The question is why? We'll get into stuff like that. In Icke's work, projection could also refer to the idea that our minds are constantly creating or interpreting reality based on pre-existing beliefs. Yes, again, it says, projection could also refer to the idea that our minds are constantly creating or interpreting reality based on pre-existing beliefs, conditioning, or societal narratives. He often suggests that the reality we experience is not an objective truth, but rather a construct influenced by these projections. Exactly. Okay, so again, conditioning. Okay, he often suggests that reality, quote, this is quote unquote reality, we experience is not an objective truth, but rather a construct influenced by these projections. So, yeah. Perception. Perception is the way we interpret and make sense of sensory information from the external world. It is shaped by our senses, experiences, beliefs, and even cultural conditioning. What the hell's that? Well, I mean, Icke might argue that what we see again. Icke might argue that what we perceive as reality is not necessarily an accurate reflection of what exists, quote unquote, out there, but rather a filtered version of reality that aligns with our internal projections. Yes, I was not going to say internal projections or external projections. That's what people are doing. Perception from projection. This part of the phrase suggests that our perception of reality is heavily influenced by the projections of our mind. Our beliefs, fears, desires, and expectations colour how we see and interpret the world. For example, if someone believes the world is a dangerous place, they may perceive more threats in their environment than someone who believes the world is safe. In Icke's worldview, this could extend to larger societal narratives, where collective beliefs, e.g. political ideologies, religious doctrines, or mainstream media narratives, shape how people perceive global events or structures. You see that with propaganda and stuff like that on the news and things, right? 4. Projection from perception. This part of the phrase suggests that our perceptions of the world can in turn reinforce or create new projections. Once we perceive something in a certain way, start again, slowly. Projection from perception, right? It's quite important. Projection from perception. It says, this part of the phrase suggests that our perceptions of the world can in turn reinforce or create new projections. Once we perceive something in a certain way, it becomes part of our mental framework, which then influences future perceptions and interpretations. So it goes over and over. It's like a loop. It just goes on, and it's like a ball of string. What do you call it? A ball? I don't know, it's like a snowball effect. I think that's what David Icke says. It rolls down the hill, the snow, and it picks up more snow, and it gets faster and faster, and then boom, in the end, the snowball effect, right? It fills itself up. It makes itself larger and larger. So layer upon layer, like an onion. It says, so once we perceive something in a certain way, it becomes part of our mental framework. So people in this society, a lot of people that believe that it is what it is, and the society is, this is the reality, and this is how you're going to do things. You're going to work your way to the top, and I'm above you, and you see, and this is what it's saying here, which then influences future perceptions and interpretations. There's something like that, basically ego, blind ego, basically. Once it does do what it's saying here, which is then influences future perceptions and interpretations, you're going to start reprojecting, and it goes with projection, perception, projection, perception. It goes on and on, and it's a snowball effect, So heavy and heavier for your mind to carry, and it's the last straw, that did break the motherfucking camel's back. Now it says here, for example, if someone perceives a particular group of people as untrustworthy, that perception may lead them to project distrust onto others who share similar characteristics, even if those new individuals have nothing to do to warrant such suspicion. Now, this is the next part, the feedback loop. Icke seems to be describing a feedback loop between perception and projection. Projection shapes perception. Our internal beliefs and assumptions influence how we interpret the world. Perception enforces projection. Perception reinforces projection. So you've got two things here, okay? Projection shapes perception. But meaning like what we're telling ourselves shapes, molds ourselves in a certain way to then perceive things, to learn things. So I'm already thinking in this kind of way, so when I see that, I kind of know half the story already. So then you got perception reinforces projection. So when you perceive through that filtered view, so you've put on the red tinted sunglasses. I'm not asking you to be motherfucking Elton John at this point in time, mate. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? But you put on some kind of tinted glasses, it could be blue, whatever colour, right? And take your matrix pick. And that's the projection. That's like a projection seat of what you're going to then perceive. It's like you've already decided how you're going to see the world. You see things, you look for things, and it reinforces your own ego. You're feeding yourself on that, Like you're eating pork and you tell yourself it's beef, and you keep on telling yourself, this beef's pretty good. I know the taste, until eventually you've forgotten the taste between two different things, or the how to even think and understand anything, because there's the taste of learning, of knowledge and information. So your brain is just a constant mix of this. See how dangerous this is, man, I'm crazy. So it says that perception reinforces projection. You're going to continue to do it. The way we perceive the world feeds back into our beliefs, further solidifying or altering them. This dynamic can create a self-reinforcing cycle where our subjective reality becomes increasingly detached from any objective truth. Icke often uses such ideas to argue that much of what people accept as quote-unquote reality is actually a construct created by powerful forces such as governments, corporations, or secret societies that manipulate perception through media, education, and other institutions. Broader implications in Icke's work. Let's have a look at this last couple of paragraphs here. It says, in his broader theories, Icke often explores themes of control, manipulation, and awakening. He argues that humanity is trapped in a false reality, a kind of quote-unquote matrix created by these projections and enforced by collective perceptions. And reinforced by collective. So created by these. So it's that we're living in a kind of matrix, a false, reality. Alice in Wonderland, all that stuff, right? Alice in Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz, The Land of Oz, and all that, all this kind of thing, 1984. So you've seen the Matrix, all this stuff. There's loads of movies about this stuff. Themes in movies like Total Recall, The Running Man, sci-fi things, Terminator. You see a lot of stuff that tells similar areas of story. If you see movies like Brave New World, what's that movie called? 1138 THX 1138, whatever it's called, that movie. You've got things like Matrix, you've got things like Labyrinth, if you know it, you know it. In the 80s. Okay. So, it says, created by these projections and reinforced by collective perceptions. By becoming aware of this dynamic, i.e. recognizing how our perceptions are shaped by projections, individuals can break free from the illusion and see the world more clearly. Right. In summary, when David Icke talks about perception from projection and projection from perception, he is highlighting the interdependent relationship between how we internally construct reality, projection, and how we interpret the external world, perception. Let's see that again. How we internally construct reality, projection. So what we make of what we're perceiving, what we're seeing, okay, is projection, and how we interpret, how we see it all, and figure it out, the external world, which is perception. This concept is central to his broader arguments about the nature of reality, consciousness, and control. Okay, so there you go. We're going to talk more about this in another video. I think it's about time to basically stop. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to do something here. Give 2 examples of each of both projection and perception as mentioned above in the form of simple short sentences. Okay, let's see. Okay, number 1, okay, giving examples. Okay, so projection. What is projection? I believe, this is what someone could say, hypothetically, someone could say these things here. I believe people are genuinely unkind So I interpret a stranger's neutral glance as a sign of hostility. Is what the person says. So someone says, I believe people are genuinely unkind. So I interpret a stranger's neutral glance, just someone looking at you, as a sign of hostility. Now this I have all the time. I see this going on all the time, but I guess we sometimes can all think that a bit too. Oh, why is that person looking at me? But see, that's because we're in this world where it's projected out onto us. Number two, because I feel insecure, someone could say, about my appearance. Someone could say, because I feel insecure about my appearance, they feel insecure in themselves. I assume others are judging me when they look at me. So what they're doing is they're taking their own beliefs and feelings, for these two examples, and they're trying to make sense of what's going on in the world. They're projecting other people and the way the world's working and their views, other people's views, onto them and telling them it must mean this because I see this, I see them this way myself. So how they feel about people in the world is then how they bring it back onto themselves. The next one is about perceptions. So someone could say these two following things, for examples here. Yeah. Perception examples. Someone might say something like this. Yeah. After hearing constant news about crime, I started to see my neighborhood as more dangerous than it actually is. See? So after hearing about that, they're perceiving it a certain way. After hearing this, and this, they started to perceive it to be more dangerous because they've heard a lot about crime. See? This is all about perception, you see. So what we're dealing with here is, with the perception, we're talking about its thoughts come to his mind, his or her mind, that may be distorted or wrong based on things they've heard or seen or experienced to some degree, and they've exaggerated upon that or made up a story based on the information that they've truly seen. So they've really experienced certain things going on around them, and then they've told themselves a story about that in their head as reality. Whereas the first one we were talking about, the projection. With projection, we're talking about basically they already start with the belief in their head, okay, which is basically a perception of some sort. It's come a perception, right? But what they do then is they then project things. So they think this way, and then they tell themselves, and so, because of what I know, that's what you mean and that's what you're like. So they're telling themselves what the world is, you see. So because of what I'm thinking, as I know this to be so, you mean this, you mean that, you're doing this because of this and that. So they're telling themselves the reasons of why the world is a certain way. So that's projection. But perception, again, going back to perception, is basically that they get this information, they experience things around them first, and then they make up a truth in their head based on that. I mean, to me, projection and perception seem pretty similar. Let's go back here. I get it now. Number two, we're going to read the second one now, the second example of perception. Are you ready? It says, and we're going to finish our video soon because it's coming up to 1 hour. Having grown up, okay, someone could say, having grown up in a loving family, I perceive most people as inherently good and trustworthy. So the person's had an experience, and so therefore, that's the world they know. Having grown up in a box, or in a culture, whatever you want to call it, a culture, a cage, or whatever you want to call it, a prison cell, a box. This is all I know. The world is this, and there's nothing more than that. You have this perception. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah. See, if you look at the projection, again, projection, it starts with I believe or I feel. And then it's so, basically so, therefore, or so, yeah, therefore, I interpret or I assume. It's all about inward. So projection's all inward. It's like I see or I feel such and such a way. So anything external going on outside of me or behaviour from others, it goes back again, I feel, and I see, again, see, I will feel this way. Because I feel this way, when I see someone look at me, I will feel this way about it. When I see this, I will know it to be this, what it means. So constantly projecting, meaning enforcing what they already know upon themselves. See? And obviously when you see and look out into the world, you are perceiving. See? So you perceive from your projection, you project from your perception. And it says here, and then this one, if you look at it, this one now, perception, it's like hearing da-di-da-di-da, or going through a certain situation. So experiencing dooby-dooby-doo from the external world, experiencing this world around me, experiencing this phenomena that's going on around me, I see things this way now. I know it to be this way now. Okay. And the last sentence here says, these examples illustrate how internal beliefs, projection, shape external interpretation, perception. So basically, the interpretation of externality, external of the external world. What's the difference between perception and interpretation, or projection? If you're telling yourself certain meanings, but it's interesting stuff. But there's a lot of things. So a lot of this stuff, it's all about the mind. It's all, goes into all that. Either schizophrenia. People have probably got a lot of this as well, in them. So goes into their thinking. So I'm going to finish off by asking this to do something here. I'm going to say, make an image which shows this. It's going to do it now. Hold on. Okay, I have to go into the. Okay, it's given a thing again. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make an image of it, okay? It's going to create an image, hopefully. And then I'm going to show you the image and we're going to finish this video. Okay, so let's check it out. Thanks for watching this, though. Can I flip this camera around? I don't know if I can here, but oh my god, it's created a. I'm going to refresh that one to another one. Hold on. And we'll take a look at this image together when it comes up on the screen. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's been a long one. I need to go and do a workout. Open image in new tab. And this is the image we've been given, guys. So let's see. I'll get this nice and straight up on here for you. Not too clear, right? Wow. One of those people is supposed to be David Icke. Supposed to be. Let me just read what it says. So the text really small. It's hard to read it. Let me just zoom in and see what it says. Yeah, the text doesn't make any sense at all. It's just showing basically a load of voices in the mind, voices in the mind. You know what I mean? And this in this side, you've got the mind talking, and then you've got this maze in the mind, you're trying to work everything out. It's crazy. Like, this doesn't summarize mental illness, man. That's such what does. So big thank you to you guys for watching this video. Take care. More to come. I'm going to put my phone on charge. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.